right, NC State UConn. We've got NC State 15-point road favorites. The total 46.5 here in this matchup here. I'm definitely interested in the home dog here. UConn is one of those teams that down the stretch of last season, you were able to cash some tickets with them. And I got to give Jim Mora Jr. just a hell of a lot of credit. This cupboard was bare when he took it over, and what he was able to get. Keep in mind all the injuries that decimated this team last year. I mean, they were without their best quarterback for almost the entire year. And he was out, and they had to deal with that. They had to deal with significant injuries with different position groups. I know the O-line was banged up for a portion of last year. They were missing some pieces in the back seven on defense. But now when you look at this UConn squad, they've got their quarterback back. Although it's funny, we were thinking Taquan Roberson, Conor, was going to be the starting quarterback. He's the guy that got injured early last year and didn't play after that. But he actually got beaten out by Joseph Fagnano. Here, the quarterback will be the starter here against NC State. So very interesting development here for UConn, that the guy I thought was going to be their quarterback and win the job in fall camp actually didn't win the job. So it's Joseph Fagnano who's going to be the starter here for UConn in this game. NC State on the flip side. NC State, a team that really relied on their defense last year under Dave Doran. We know that they were an excellent defensive team, but man, a lot of those key performers and key players on that side of the ball are gone from last year's team. So I do think they're going to take a step back there on the defensive side of the football this season. They were a really, really strong, solid defensive unit last year, and just a lot of production lost from that team, from that side of the football coming into this season. And on the flip side, some changes on offense. Devin Leary, who we know was the starting quarterback here for many years, transfers to Kentucky, where he'll start there now. And they bring in Brennan Armstrong, someone we're all familiar with, many years at Virginia. And what's pretty interesting here, Conor, is that Brennan Armstrong is going to reunite with a guy that was his offensive coordinator at Virginia 2 seasons ago, and probably had his best college football season of his career. Not probably. He did have his best college football season 2 years ago. We remember that Virginia squad 2 years ago. They were lighting it up offensively. Brennan Armstrong was just throwing the ball all over the field, and he was just ripping it up in the passing game with Robert Anae as his offensive coordinator. Robert Anae was at Syracuse for 1 year, and now he's here at NC State reuniting with Brennan Armstrong when the two of them were together at Virginia a couple of years ago. So I think that means you're going to see maybe you wouldn't think new quarterback, new OC with a new team, there's not going to be any offensive cohesion. Maybe not. There could be some offensive cohesion right away, because this OC and this quarterback have been together before, and they're very familiar with each other and what they want on offense and what the scheme is going to look like. And now you've got a quarterback in Armstrong that can relay that, to his O-linemen, to his running backs, to his receivers, tell them, hey, I've been in this system before. Here's what we want to do. So I think that's a benefit here for NC State. That being said, you're on the road for your opener. You lost a lot of pieces on defense, and I'm really high on this UConn. Not that they're going to be like a 7, 8, 9 win team all of a sudden, but I do think they're going to challenge for bowl eligibility to get to 6 wins this year. And I like them getting this number of points here at home against NC State. And the more this total drops, and I know there could be some showers on Thursday night in Storrs, Connecticut for this game, but the more this total drops, the more I'm interested in the over, as long as the weather holds up, because I think NC State's up on offense, down on defense a little bit coming into this season. And I think UConn on the flip side here, their quarterback room is finally healthy and ready to go. That should help their offensive side of it as well. What do you think here, Conor? Pretty interesting Thursday night battle, NC State, UConn.
Yeah, let's get to NC State real quick. Last year, they beat down this UConn team, but that was at home. NC State just hasn't been very good on the road the last few years. I think they're 7-19, something like that, their last 25. What do we get out of Armstrong, here in this offense? Are they going to really throw it around? I'm not so sure. The NC State defense will come to play, I think. And you talked about Jim Mora did a great job last year with this team. Roberson goes out, Turner comes in, and then, like you mentioned, I was just shocked that Fagnano won this job, kind of, I guess, a little bit out of nowhere in this one. I got to take a look at the points with the home dog. One thing, though, with UConn, they got beat up when they stepped up against some better teams. They got their ass kicked. So can that defense come to play? Tight end, they got that kid, Hansen from Michigan. They have a few good linebackers. The secondary, isn't great. So, but as a home dog here, double-digit points, I am definitely looking their way in this game. And at this total, as long as it stays 47, 46.5, I definitely have to lean to the under.
All right, liking the under here, 46.5, and UConn. So we're split on the total, but we agree with UConn at this number. It might be a good side here in their season opener.